Chris, what's the mood like where you are?
As we said, they are only provisional polls, but hasn't stopped Kais Said's supporters getting out onto the streets of Tunis. Earlier, as you said, just outside his HQ, and now a few hundred metres down the road here in front of the theatre on Avenue Bourguiba. It's a location which has seen many of Tunisia's key political events in recent years going back to the revolution. In the end, this presidential poll, kind of a contest between two self-styled anti-establishment figures. You were hearing there about the fact that Mr. Saied was relatively unknown. His rival, Mr. Karoui, tried to portray himself as a bit of an outsider. He was, in the end, a pretty well-connected and wealthy man. And in the end, people perhaps didn't buy his particular argument. Mr. Saied tapping into the discontent that exists here in Tunisia with an establishment, these post-revolution politicians that are seen as distant and in some cases corrupt. He's promised a clean-up, and that's a message which, despite the relatively high rate of abstention, has struck a chord with a pretty diverse cross-section of Tunisian society in terms of those we've been talking to in recent days, in terms of those out celebrating the young, many of whom did abstain, but nevertheless he has plenty of young supporters. There are also those from left-wing groups, perhaps not natural bedfellows with him given his conservative social views, former supporters of the Islamist-inspired movement Ennahda, and even more religiously conservative movements. So his appeal has proven pretty widespread in the end.
And Chris, what does the result of this vote mean then for Tunisia's democracy?
Tunisia's democracy is still obviously very much a work in progress. In terms of what you think the president's going to do, well, that I think depends on which kind of Mr. Saied emerges out of the relative shadows. His opponents say he's an Islamist in disguise. He says, no, I'm not. Religion is a private matter. I'm socially conservative, but what motivates me is delivering the promises of the revolution, getting power out of the hands of politicians and businessmen in Tunis down to democracy at a local level. It should be pointed out that in the end, Tunisia's constitution puts the majority of the power not in the hands of the president, but in the parliament. Situation there in the wake of recent legislative elections remains unclear. It could be an uncertain few weeks here.
Thanks for that. That's Chris Moore.